Rightio cheerio. Well, I'm just gonna do myself the favor and quickly gloss over the super embarrassing fact that I, being the Phantom of the Opera fan that I have professed myself to be quite a bit in recent times, somehow missed out on there being a sequel in 2012 till somewhere around 2016 when YouTube just randomly and generously decided to suggest it to me and bring it to my attention. So if there's anyone out there watching this right now who finds themselves in the same, or at the very least a similar boat, may I present Love Never Dies. Production-wise, this is meant to be a stage play, though it appears to have been recorded in a closed theater without the presence of an audience. So that, coupled with the usage of the camera, is meant to kind of help build up the atmosphere of watching a legitimate film, or at least to the best of its own ability. Musically, I enjoy it quite a bit. I've come around with it quite a bit over the last few years. I still don't think it's quite up to the snuff of the original, but you know, that soundtrack has been floating around with us in popular culture for the better part of 35 years. So I suppose maybe kind of holding it to that same standard or having that expectation might be a difficult ask. Narratively, it's definitely not without its faults. There are places where it gets rocky, where we have to just dive in with some elbow grease and really chisel away some of the details in order to hodgepodge this beast together. One of its weak points are it completely mucks up the dates that things happen, which somehow is worse than it's already been before, considering Andrew Lloyd Webber just for whatever reason just doesn't seem to comprehend even the slightest definition of the word continuity. His entire timeline of his universe is just jacked up 6 ways to Sunday. So I guess as far as I'm concerned, how much more damage could possibly be done in this regard? And what's a little more? I will leave it to you to jump down that rabbit hole and do your own research. But it definitely seems to be one of the primary reasons why the majority of Phantom fans would just prefer to pretend that this thing doesn't exist at all. The other hot button topic is the fact that, spoiler, cough cough, Christine's son is sired by the Phantom and not Raoul. Specifically, the details surrounding how and or when this is said to have occurred. Now, upon my first watch, after I realized that this was indeed the direction we were heading in, I, like so many others, had the sort of logical assumption that it must have happened in or around the time of the Music of the Night. It is the one time that I can think of off the top of my head where the two of them are alone in his lair as an intimate setting. It is one of the more sexually charged sequences of the story, and I seem to recall there being quite a bit of sexual symbology contained within that scene. But upon closer examination, and really listening to the lyrics of the song in which this cat is let out of the bag, it actually implies that somewhere between the final time that we see him at the end of the original story to the time when he flees Paris, on the night before Christine and Raoul are set to be married, she seeks him out. She finds him wherever it is that he's hiding. They spend the night together. They do the deed, and he vanishes. So I guess you can do with that information what you will. I really think, however, that if you're able to suspend the intricacies of the details that may or may not break this thing for you, it is exactly what I would want in a Phantom sequel. For me, it is every bit about the love and heartbreak, the beauty and artistry, the tragedy and madness that the original one is. I do think that there are some character arcs in things that I don't really appreciate as a fan. You know, like I don't want Raoul to be this drunk, gambling addicted asshole. I don't want Meg to be the one responsible for killing her best friend, albeit accidentally, though I can buy into those things. This movie asks me to believe that due to the financial straits that he finds himself in, Raoul leeches on his wife's talents and her prestige as a meal ticket of sorts. I can. It asks me to believe that Meg and her mother have helped Phantom escape Paris and hidden him on Coney Island, which seems to be the only place in the world where he can be himself without drawing too much ire and suspicion. I can. It asks me to believe that due to the relationships that the Giris have with the Phantom in the absence of Christine, that a high level, an aggressive level of jealousy would crop up when she eventually reemerges in his life and becomes the center of his world once again. And I can. You know what? I really think that it's the cast that helped me drive all of this home. I mentioned in my last review that the acting there was fine. It was suitable. But the acting here is just so much better. Head and shoulders better compared to that one. I would even go as far as to say that it rivals the film cast for me. Not only that, but I would venture to say that this might be my favorite pairing of the Phantom and Christine. You know, I grew up, you know, as I've said multiple times now, I grew up with Gerard Butler and Emmy Rossum as my Phantom and Christine. And for that, they will always have a special place in my heart. For that, they have been my gold standard for many, many years that have remained unpassed until right now. And it's not just them, it is the entire cast here. I don't think that there's a single character that I don't get at least some enjoyment out of watching. You know, just the way that everybody sells me on the fact that they are the mature versions of themselves. You know, that time has passed. It's been 10 years, and they each find themselves, I think, in different places in life as individuals, and it has weathered each of them in very specific ways that all kind of feed into the narrative of this movie. And I just love it for that. Overall, like I said earlier, I really feel as though this is something that most Phantom fans would choose to leave rather than take. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll take it all day long. I love this thing. But with that being said, this will end our journey through the Phantom series. Now, I know that there is at least one foreign adaptation out there. There is the that I don't currently have in my collection. There is the book that I have but haven't read yet, as well as a old school point and click PC game that functions as a sequel to the original story that I hope to review eventually. So I feel fairly confident in saying that this is not the last that we will see of the Phantom on the channel. It's just everything that I have at my disposal for the current moment. So until then, it's time to move on to something new. So take care of yourselves as always, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you very, very soon.